started. I'll quickly take a couple of minutes to introduce Nagarajan, and before we get started with the session, thank you so much, Nagarajan, for joining in, and thank you to all the participants for taking your time off and joining in this very important discussion on emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, and emotional well-being. Right? So I will leave the expert to talk more about it, but before that, a quick intro on Nagarajan. So Nagarajan is a certified emotional intelligence facilitator and coach, an NLP practitioner, Enneagram facilitator, and a motivational speaker. I have personally known Nagarajan for the last couple of years, and I've been working with him on a lot of sessions with varying from leadership sessions, new leader assimilation, soft skills, and sales coaching, and one of his sessions on first-time managers and leadership session for leadership lessons from sports. It's a super duper hit session which is resonated very well by all the participants. So thank you, Nagarajan, for taking your time off for being with us to help our participants out here on the topic of emotional quotient. So we look forward to hearing from you. And to all the participants, the session today is going to be talking about, Nagarajan will be sharing with us on emotional mastery. He's going to be talking about why emotional intelligence, the benefits, how it benefits the professional lives, right? And how can you increase your self-awareness and have a better control of impulses and managing your emotions, right? And also to understand the value of optimism and to empathize with others. So these are some of the things that Nagarajan is going to briefly touch upon in today's session. And before I hand over this to Nagarajan, some of the hygiene factors that I want everyone to follow is to keep your self on mute throughout the session. It's going to be very, very interactive. That's something that I'm going to promise. So please use your chat window to the best. In case you're happy, if you agree with what Nagarajan is saying, please do a smiley face symbol, just a colon with a close bracket, which will indicate that you're happy. If you're not, please do a left bracket, which shows that you indicate that you don't agree with what Nagarajan is saying. So we keep getting your emotions. We can evaluate what your emotions are during this session while we talk on emotional. I think, so do you all agree? Are we good to go with the session? If you agree, yes. Please use the chat and say yes. Please keep yourselves on mute. Please respond everything through the chat. Thank you for that. Liking that. Lovely. So over to you, Nagarajan, and at the end we will give a Q&A session where you can keep asking your questions. Even during the session, please keep posting all your questions. We'll collect them and ensure Nagarajan answers all of them. Over to you, Nagarajan.
Thank you very much, Vijay. Thank you very much. Well, I'm just going to be sharing the screen straight away. We get into the act. Okay. Friends, quickly, can you type out on the chat box 3 emotions that you experienced since morning today? 3 emotions that you experienced since morning. Can you come on the chat? Yes. Keep typing. Keep typing. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Everybody. All right. Okay. I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. If you can keep, chatting on that. Were you aware of them when you were experiencing those emotions? Were you aware of them when you were experiencing those emotions? Can you come on the chat again? Hello? Okay. Okay. So as you keep doing it, I just want to know, I mean, come back to you on this, because it's very, very emotional intelligence is a topic which everybody is aware of. And all of you know that that's a very, very important thing for people to become successful in their life. But at the same time, I mean, how many of you found it difficult to type those emotions? Was it easy for you or was it difficult? Just a second. Yes. Easy? Okay. Not very easy, not really easy. Some of you are saying it's easy. Okay. So, okay. Good. So 3 emotions that you've experienced since morning, and I wanted to ask a question that how are you feeling today? And it's a wonderful topic to talk about at this point in time because there's so much of uncertainties happening around. But at the same time, that anxiety or uncertainty, I mean, it's because of the uncertainties that's happening outside. So I'm just here I'm glad that Kelpachar gave me this opportunity to come in front of you to talk to you about emotional intelligence. And I consider what Kelpachar is doing is a very, very sacred thing that they're doing because they are already into healing people emotionally and creating a very safe work environment for people. And I have utmost regards and thanks for all of you people to come on board on a Friday evening. Well, of course, it's very difficult when, pre-COVID, if you look at it, on a Friday evening, if you ask people to come on board for a meeting or something like that, it would be very difficult. But then now everybody is stuck at home. And it's the best thing that we can talk about now in terms of, emotional intelligence. And let me just little bit of background about EQ and the story behind the EQ. But before that, I just want to tell you about my experience on EQ and my own journey towards that. I started my career a couple of decades ago in one of the largest healthcare company. And if you look at it, I got a job and becoming a little bit achieving whatever that I want to achieve in my life. And every time when I did something good, people always said that I'm a very emotional person. And all the good things happen. That time also they were telling that I'm a very emotional person and that emotions help me to succeed. And there are a lot of things which I failed in my life. Okay. Where a couple of businesses when I started, I quit, and the friendships that I lost, and all of those things, if you look at it, everything, it's because, people said that I'm very emotional. That's why these things happen to me. And coming back to tell you about it, it looked like every one of the other person was aware that I was very emotional, but I was not aware of it. How many of you agree with what I'm saying? Yeah. So every one of the other people were aware that I'm an emotional person, but I was not able to be aware of that. Okay, so let me quickly help you. Understand about EQ, where it started, and how it came about. A lot of you who are in the corporate world, who are in big positions, and whatever that you're doing, I'm sure you've come across the term EQ. And so this, if you can look at the screen, there are 3 of the people over there. This is for the people who want some details about EQ, but I'm not going to be much getting into the details because I'm very practical about what I want to talk to you about today. And we're going to have some good time about how we can recognize emotions, how we can understand them, and how we can navigate those emotions. That's the session is going to be today, and it's going to be very interactive as well. And this, if you look at it, these are the 3 major stalwarts who were, who first came out of the Emotional Quotient: Peter Salovey and John Mayer. And these are the guys in 1990. They came out of the Emotional Quotient. Okay, let's see what is Emotional Quotient all about. And then if you look at it, Daniel Goleman was the first person who started marketing Emotional Quotient as well. And this is the gentleman who, I got introduced to Emotional Quotient through this gentleman called Dr. Granville D'Souza. And when I started reading his book on emotional intelligence for success and high performance, I decided, okay, this is the thing that I want, because I've been in the training industry for some time. I've been doing all kind of training programs. Over a period of time, I felt like, what exactly I want to do? Is it really what I want to do? And in fact, trust me, you will not believe that I've been also doing sessions on Emotional Quotient, but at the same time, I was judged all the time for my emotions. Some of the people who are very close to me knows that I'm a very feeling guy, and I get angry very easily. And I've broken the TV, I've quit the job, and I came out of business partnerships. just because I was emotional and not being able to take decisions, or rather I took all the decisions emotionally. Okay, this is if you look at what is EQ all about? It's a form of social intelligence that involves, you can read for yourself, okay, a form of social intelligence that involves the ability and monitor one's own and other feeling, and uh, one's own and others' feelings and emotions, to discriminate among them and to use this information to guide one's thinking and action. This is the first definition which was given by those people, who started working on emotional intelligence. Now, what is EQ all about? Okay, it's very important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence. Okay, it's not the triumph of heart, and it's a unique intersection of both. Most of the times there is a misconception. If emotional quotient means you should forget all your intelligence quotient, or you should be like, only you should wear your heart over your sleeves, and you should be forgetting everything what people are talking about. It's not that. Okay, it's all about an intersection of both the EQ and IQ together. Okay, so why EQ becomes more important the higher you go in an organization? Let's have a look at it. How many of you agree with me that EQ plays a very big role in terms of people becoming successful? Can I request all of you to come on a chat and comment on that quickly? Yes? Yeah? Okay. All right. Is there anybody who wants to share in the chat box window, chat window, how? Okay. All right. So we'll be, I'm just getting, okay. Yes. So most of you are saying, yes, it is, very, very important for people to become successful, right? It's very important for people to become successful. All right. And why EQ becomes more important the higher you go in an organization? If you can look at a picture for yourself, maybe you can take a few seconds on this particular slide so that it'll be easy for us to connect on what exactly we're going to be talking about. And at different levels, if you can look at it at different levels in an organization, as you grow up in the ladder, there are people at the base, ground level, and then you get into the supervisor level, and then in the management. If you look at it, as a person starts his career, if you can look at it, as a person starts his career, it's more of the purpose side. The goal that they have, what they want to achieve in their life, what exactly they're aspiring for. Those kind of things come into picture, the technical skills and the certification and this and that, everything. Okay, little bit of people skill is what is needed at the point in time. But as you grow up, go to the next level, the mid-level management. If you look at it, if half of people skills and half of the technical skills that is essential for people to become successful. And if you go higher in the management, if you look at it, it's fully people skills and less of technical skills. And we're going to be talking about how this is going to be, and what exactly that we do and how it can benefit you as well in the coming things. But then if you can look at it, the higher you go, that's when the people skills, the soft skills complement hard skills for the people. Okay, and if you can look at this, let's come into it. This is one of the surveys which was conducted globally recently. It says that EQ and performance, how you can match these things. Almost, if you can look at it, 60% of job performance for supervisors through CEOs. Can you believe that? EQ opens, because one of the things which I've been observing in organizations is, as people grow up in the ladder, they are thinking that EQ is not important. They can just keep their nose up high in the air, and they don't have to interact much with the people, and they start operating from the authority space, not from the acceptance space as such. But if you look at it, people who are highly successful, there are people, I have seen people at the C-suites, the senior management level, who still don't have EQ, much of EQ, but they're there sitting in that position. What I would like to say is, people who are at that position, if they have high amount of EQ, and they're going to be incredibly successful, is what I'm saying, right? So that's the point here. It doesn't mean that people who are sitting at that place who doesn't have EQ are not successful. No, I'm not saying that. people who are at the CEO level and the, senior management level, if they have that EQ, high EQ, and they definitely are able to get the job done, and they grow up further in the ladder faster. And then if you look at it, 90% of the top performers are high in EQ in any field. In any field, if you look at it, 90% of the top performers are high in EQ. Right. What does it tell us? What does it tell us? One of the things that I understood is, the cognition level of a person, it starts growing as the person starts growing. But mid-age, somewhere at the moment they get into the job or whatever it is, it goes on a plateau, right? But EQ is not that. It's something that we have to start picking up, and it starts growing. And any age, whatever the age it might be, whatever position you are in, there is still a biggest room that's available is a room for improvement as far as EQ is concerned. Right? So even at the low performers, if you look at it, 20% of low performers are high in EQ. What does it mean? They may not be good in technical skills. They may not be good in technical skills, but they certainly are extremely good with EQ. Right? That's the reason why they're holding the job for a while. And let's look at it. Why EQ? Okay, why EQ? In other words, we are not. We are emotional beings. We are not emotional doings, or we are not emotional knowing. We are emotional beings. So some of the people I have come across, well, I was also like that before. Okay, I used to smile for the sake of smiling, and I used to say something for the sake of saying, right? But then, if you look at it, we are emotional beings, not knowing or the doing. Don't keep it at the skill level, because anything and everything that happens in our life is based on our emotions, right? So emotions, why EQ? Because that's a driving force for people. Trust me, any action, energy, emotion is emotion. That's what people say. And then, everything happens based on the emotion that's coming up in your mind. The things that you buy, the things that you do for your loved ones, and the things, whatever that you want to achieve, do, or give towards, the places that you want to be, everything, if you look at it, the driving force behind that is emotions. If someone is doing without that emotions, probably, yes, they may be successful, but still they may not be, they may not be expressing that emotions is what I think about, okay? And the second thing, if you look at it, the choices that you make are based on your emotions. That's what I said now. The decisions and the choices that we make are based on the emotional state that we have. All right. And the third thing, why EQ is important according to me is, no matter how high-tech the world is becoming, it's still high-touch world, right? What do I mean by high-touch? Well, this particular COVID scenario is very, very relevant for me to talk to you about why it is high-touch. Well, why I'm saying high-touch is because we've been getting calls from people, from organizations, from the HRs and the leads and everybody. If you look at it, when I ask them, oh, how are you? How are the deliverables for you? How are the outcomes met? They all say, no, we don't have any issue in meeting the outcomes. Okay, then where do you need our support? They say that we need your support in terms of emotions. We want our managers to be more empathizing. We want our managers to be more connecting with people. Everybody is stressed. Okay, that's a very important factor, isn't it? Right? That tells me no matter how high-tech the world is becoming, it may be the world of artificial intelligence, but the real intelligence is someone who's going to have an EQ, high amount of EQ, right? So that's the real intelligence according to me. That's why I say that no matter how high-tech the world becomes, it's still high-tech. That's one good enough reason for each and every one of us to be looking at what EQ is all about and how we can improvise or recognize or understand and look at managing those emotions. Okay, that's it about. And the next one, if you want to collaborate, if you want to connect, if you want to do something together, definitely EQ matters. My friends, from an authority space, only a few things can be done. That's because of the position. But from the influence space, there's a lot can be done. For that, it's very important to be, having the EQ factor. That's the factor that I want to say, not because I've chosen this. I chose this because I felt like this is very, very important for people. And somewhere it resonated very well with me because I had ups and downs, the roller coaster ride in my life, in everything that I did, right? And because, I'm one guy who's, grew up in a broken family, and I was abused as a child. And, I felt most of the times people took me granted because my emotions, I was not able to channelize my emotions. I had this sense of missing out on things, fear of losing people, fear of losing things, right? So somewhere it took a lot of time for me to recognize on all of those things. And that I could understand only when I started exploring what this EQ is all about. Well, there are a few coaches who helped me, few mentors who helped me very well in terms of me recognizing all of that, right? I would name them, but then at the same time, I just want to tell you guys, it's very, very important for you to collaborate. EQ is the most important thing. Okay, that's why EQ. That's one of the things. And your excellence comes out when you are at an elevated emotional state. Again, I want to repeat, your excellence comes out when you're at an elevated emotional state. I don't know, whatever could be the trigger. The trigger could be positive, the trigger could be negative, the trigger could be you wanted to be at that flow state, right? Any creative person, anybody who achieves something, anybody who does something big, if you ask them, they had that emotion which is coming up, right? That elevated emotional state which helped them to, in terms of them, achieving whatever their excellence came. They were in the flow state, right? They were in the flow state. That just was, they were flowing. Thoughts, feelings, and actions were aligned at the same time because they were at an elevated emotional state. You go and approach any of the performers, their masterpiece would have been at an elevated emotional state. So my invitation to you is, how can we get into that elevated emotional state? Well, I got to be aware of it first, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you about that. Why EQ is what I wanted to talk to you, and then I've said that before. And one functional definition of emotions, I want to share this with you. One functional definition of emotions is that they are internal processes that get triggered by external events. Okay, they're internal processes that get triggered by external events. When the trigger happens, how we're going to be going about, that's what is most important as far as EQ is concerned. Okay, good. Who is your EQ role model? Before me getting into EQ and talking about how EQ is, you can improvise on the EQ, what exactly you can do about it. Who's your EQ role model? And if you can get into the chat box, chat window, and start typing. What are the three qualities that you have seen in them? Okay, what are the three qualities that you have seen in them? Can you quickly tell that? Yes. Okay, what are the three qualities? Your mom is your role model, wonderful. Your supervisor, can you quickly, okay, Dhoni, fantastic. Can you quickly share with us what exactly, the qualities that you have seen in them? Can you name them? Can you name them? Is there anybody who's finding it difficult to name them? Able to handle pressure, cool and balanced. Okay, brilliant. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, maturity, sensitive, cool approach, perseverance. Wow, very efficient. Being empathetic listener, talking maturely, easy to approach. Please keep going, keep going. Yes, can you come forward with some more things? Your role model, and what are the three qualities that you observed in them? Empathy, perfect decision maker. All right, perfect decision maker. Wonderful. Influencer, charismatic, always happy. All right, okay. Can you go ahead? Yes, calm, compassionate, right? Never letting themselves down and allow others. Motivator, okay, motivator. And down to earth. Okay, let's take another 10 seconds. Okay, out of the box thinking. Right, some more. Can you please? Yes, composed, thinking through, conveying properly. Okay, her ability to support despite her own difficulties. Your mother, wonderful, easy to approach. All right, so you have some role models for yourself. Okay, all right. Gracious, cool, calm, tempered, empathy, decision making, gracious, resilience, non-judgmental. All right, so you keep typing whatever that you comes across in your mind. I just want to tell you, I'm not going to be typing here. Okay, this is for you, and I'm just going to be quickly getting into some of the things. I want to walk you through some of the metaphors that I want you to leave with. Okay, metaphors. Let's look at it. Okay, can you all see the screen? What is there? Sunshine, right? Sunshine. Yeah. So you call somebody, I mean, a sunshine in your life. Some of you may be calling your kids a sunshine. Some of you maybe the person whom you love the most. Some of you maybe your friends, your parents, whatever, right? And the sunshine is someone or something, okay, that radiates warmth, cheer, or happiness. So I want you to go with that acronym today, that is SUN. Let's see what exactly, in this short session, I wish and I hope that we're going to be catching up in the, well, okay, somebody says that I'm my own sunshine. Brilliant. Okay. So let's see. I mean, how can you be more, right, of sunshine in others' life as well? That's what we're going to be talking about. Right. So let's see. Sunshine, the S stands for spot it in you. What am I talking about spotting in you? Emotions. If you can look at the chat window, everybody who's talking about some of the emotions, right? Empathy, listener. I mean, I'm just going to give you some statistics, my friends. In the dictionary, there are 3,000 vocabularies which represents emotions. I tell you, I bet you, we will be finding very few I have come across who can name more than 30 emotions, right? Very few I have come across who can name more than 30 emotions, okay? So here, what I want to talk to you about is spot it in you, meaning when I'm saying spot it in you is, when you are undergoing an emotion, how do you, I mean, do you really think about it? I tell you a classic example. My son was on his online class yesterday when he was undergoing the online class. In one of the app that the school has asked him to use for the class, he suddenly, he was dabbling his finger, and what happened is he zoomed the text to 250 unknowingly. He didn't know what he did. Okay, it happened. But then suddenly he's seeing that the screen has become so big, he's able to see only a few letters, rest of the things have gone out. So he's calling, he's calling me, closing the window, opening the window, closing the window, opening the window, closing the window, opening the window. And then I went and saw what happened. Finally, I also did a couple of times the same thing to figure out what it is. Then I could go there and zoom in and then kind of come down so that the screen became normal. This is exactly what happens when people are becoming emotional. When there is a trigger, people start acting. People start, I won't say acting, people start reacting. You know why? Because I don't know what emotion I'm undergoing. I don't know what's happening inside me. So it's very important if someone wants to become an emotionally intelligent person, the first thing that they have to be looking at is, what emotion am I undergoing? I need to have that literacy towards emotions, understand more number of words, start noticing small feelings that is coming about. In fact, I just want to tell you that how many of you here agree with me that we've always been told, don't feel too much, don't bring emotions in work, don't become emotional about it, don't cry. Are we not told like that, my friends? Yes. But then that's exactly what is happening, my friends, because we don't have knowledge on emotional. Okay. And one of the things that I want to tell you is, I'm coming to that, somebody is saying in the chat box that, the next thing is spotted in others. I think being emotional is good. Yes, exactly. Vandana, being emotional is good. That's where I'm coming in. Okay. I'm coming there. You come in first in that. Okay, that's fine. Spotted in others. First, you start spotting the emotions in you. And second, you start spotting it in others. When you spot it in others, you start recognizing the emotions. So the first thing, the thing that I want to tell you is, can you see the screen? There are 4 zones there, right? On the left side, if you look at it, the energy, right, which is high and low, and the bottom, if you look at it, the pleasantness. So the zone 1 is high energy and low in pleasantness. Can you, anyone, some of you, can you type what are the things, emotions that comes up in the zone 1? In the zone 1, when there is energy is very high, but your pleasantness is low. Anger, okay? Anger, wonderful. Angry, yes. Frustration, superb. Okay, beautiful. Okay, frustration, anger. Some more. Wrong decisions, okay, wrong decisions. Hard work, okay. Anything else? Can we have some more? Rude, okay. Rage is another thing that you can say, okay. Frustrations, guilt, brilliant. So you know that zone 1, right? In the zone 1, the red, if you look at it, there's high energy but low in pleasantness. A lot of times we'll be undergoing that kind of emotions. Let's move on to the zone 2, which is low in energy and low in pleasantness. Can you type some of the emotions which are coming there? Zone 2, zone 2, boredom, okay, wonderful, and disappointment, brilliant, depressed, okay, sad, exhausted, stressed, disengaged, okay. Anything else? Aloof, wow. Thank you so very much. Let's move on to the zone 3, okay. Zone 3 is where the pleasantness is high, but the energy required is still low, okay. Zone 3, the green, if you look at it, that's where the pleasantness is high, but the energy is low. Can you type quickly some of the things? Something, serenity, silence, okay, wonderful. Fatigue, well, I don't know, fatigue might come in zone 2, but then it's okay. Can we move on? Somebody else? Yes, contentment. Oh, yes, contentment. Okay. Okay, zone 4. I'm taking you to the zone 4. When it goes to zone 4, what do you think are the emotions that people come up with again in the blue? Happiness, achievement, joy, pleasant, success, adrenaline rush, brilliant. Okay, thrill, okay, excitement, freedom, success. I'm so happy this is a very positive group that I'm sitting with, because the positive emotion words are coming on the higher side, you know, when I'm asking you. Okay, good, brilliant. So the point here that I want to make is there are 3,000 words in the vocabulary, I mean, emotional vocabulary. You can go on Google and search for yourself. But then out of the 3,000, if you look at it, 70% of those emotions, 70% of those emotions are negative. 30% of the emotions are positive. But the point that I'm here to make is, if you can look at it, when you know which area that your emotion is falling down, it'll be easy for you to move on, make the transition. Can you look at it? The red is rage, terror, hate, depressed. And then if you look at it in the yellow, it's anger, fear, dislike, and sadness. And if you look at it on the green, it's calm, optimistic, peaceful, and hopeful. But then if you look at it, the blue one is love, passionate, joy, ecstasy, and those kind of emotions, right? Cheerful. Okay. So my point here is, the first thing when I said spot the emotions, all I wanted to tell you is, can you see the picture of the guy in India? Everybody knows, if you're not playing cricket, somebody at home is playing cricket. If nobody is playing cricket at home, at least somebody is watching cricket at home, or you're watching cricket at home. So that's how we've been growing in India. And this gentleman, if you look at it, Dhoni has made Captain Cool. Yes, Urmila, you said it right, Captain Cool, right? So one most important thing that we want to talk to you about, okay, does it mean emotional people have to be cool, calm, they cannot express their emotions, or what? Also express, yes or no, in the same domain, right? In the same domain, there's somebody who's a Captain Cool, right? He doesn't show something very, candidly or vividly to others. But then if you look at it, Kohli is there, he's very expressive, but then he's also achieved something big in life. So the first thing that I want to tell you is, all emotions are functional. Please give yourself permission to feel whatever that you're feeling throughout the day. Because some of us are still, my friends, we are hard on ourselves. I need to control. No. It's okay to be emotional, right? Emotions it's functional. That has come up for a reason. The problem is, just because I don't know, like how my son did not know how to minimize the screen, he was just frantically doing some things. Just because I don't know what my emotions are, I come about reacting to things. So the first thing, if you want to take from this session, the one thing that you want to take from this session is, I'm going to increase my awareness on emotions. I'm going to notice emotions in me. Because some of us, my friends, the moment we're talking like this, what will happen? They will be going and noticing emotions in others. But I would like to invite you to look at it on you first, okay? Because EQ is all about, there are 4 things that plays a very big role in EQ. It's all about you spotting what emotions, or your skill to understand, notice and understand the emotions that you are having, experiencing, and the ability to, also to notice in others, and the ability to manage yourself and others. That's exactly what EQ is all about. It's a skill and the ability. It's to notice the emotions that I'm undergoing, and also what the other people are undergoing, and kind of make small adjustments to make a win-win. Those are the people who are highly emotionally intelligent. That's exactly what people say. Okay, so let's go on. And the next thing, in the sun, when you want to be a sunshine in your life or in the lives of somebody else, the next thing that comes up is the you. Okay, it's to understand the emotions. When I say understand the emotions, what do I mean? Okay, let's go a little bit into the physiology of the human brain. I'm not going to take in fact, I'm more of the art of emotional intelligence. What is close to me, not the science behind the intelligence, but it's good to know. Okay, it's good to know. If you can look at the brain, there are 3 parts in the red color thing that is noted down there. One is the brain stem. That's where the stimulus gets into us. Okay, the sense, whatever the senses that you're having, seeing, feeling, touching, everything, and the stimulus goes there. When somebody does something, there's a trigger, the stimulus goes through the stem. And if you look at the limbic brain, that's where the feeling happens. Okay, that's where the feeling happens. And if you look at the cortical brain, which is in the front, the cortical brain, that's where the rationality comes in. That's a rational brain. Okay, that's a thinking brain. So the limbic brain is a feeling brain, and the cortical brain is a thinking brain. The challenge here is, let me tell you. Okay, let's imagine you're going towards your office. Okay, in your car, suddenly somebody comes and cuts in front of you and goes. The limbic brain, when the stimulus goes in, what the limbic brain does is it immediately hijacks your emotion. Okay, it hijacks your emotion, and it tells you, how can he cut you? You've been going on a right lane, and he's come and cut you like this. It's not fair. You just go and tell him what you are capable of doing. But then just imagine the cortical brain is telling you, hey, you know what? Maybe he's having a sense of urgency. Maybe something is happening. Just leave him. You understand what I'm saying? It's the ability to delay the response for a while. The fusion has to happen, my friends, between the thinking and feeling. So I don't care whether the feeling comes first or the thinking comes first. But when the thinking and feeling merges together, how one is going to act, that's how this emotional intelligence is going to be defined. That's how it's going to be coming about as a person. How many of us have that experience? Like when you're driving the car, especially on the road, you suddenly shout at them, and then you realize, why did I shout? Right? It has happened to me many times. Okay, so my invitation to you is, that's exactly what I'm here to tell you. I mean, the delay in response between these two, between the thinking and the feeling, and then in terms of you coming about and acting, that's exactly what is going to be. The longer the time, better for you. And one good thing that we need to do, when you're angry, you know what happens? How many of you have experienced that? You're not able to breathe properly because you're stressed. So proper oxygen intake in the bloodstream is going to reduce the time in which you're going to be active. Okay, so my invitation to you is, look at it. Why am I talking about it? When you name the emotion, when you can name it, you can tame it, right? When you name the emotion, you will be able to kind of delay the response. Your rational brain starts thinking, and there's a beautiful fusion happens there. When that fusion is happening, and that's when you look emotionally intelligent. Right? Okay, let's move on. I don't want to get too much into the science behind it. There are tons of things available online, and my invitation to you is, if you want to know more about it, you can reach to us. But at the same time, if you want to learn it by yourself, when you have the intent, the content will show up in front of you, right? So the next thing that I want to talk to you about is, just imagine, this is what exactly I talk to you about now, right? When the hot button is pressed, when there is a threat or a provocation or injustice is happening, there is a hot button. So there's a physical or emotional distress that is there, and that triggers your thoughts. And you start blaming, you start justifying your action, and that's when the snowball effect happens, my friends. Okay? So what I want to tell you is, just delay your response. Just, so I'm going to be talking about some more things to you about it. I have always heard that negative emotions acts as a poison. Is it true for our body scientifically? Absolutely yes. As the Meherotra that you have asked for, it's definitely a poison. It doesn't help you. The most of the times, if you look at it, the pain that we get in our body, especially in the upper back and your neck, it's all because we're bottling those emotions, right? So I'm going to be talking about that to you as well, because in the sun, you want to be a sunshine in your life or in somebody else's life, right? That's, your loved one's life. Most important thing is to understand the acronym SUN. S stands for spot the emotions in you and in others. U stands for understanding the emotions that's happening in you and also understanding the emotions that's happening there. And it's okay to understand the emotions in others, my friends, because we are human beings. We are not human doings, or we are not human knowings. It's not enough to just know and do. Let's be it, right? Okay, so from today onwards, my invitation to you is, whether you, whatever, just start paying attention to your feelings. Respect your feeling. Doesn't matter, it's guilt, shame, fear, anger, frustration, hatred, depression, grief, whatever emotion it is, right? Because I told you, emotions are functional. If it's functional, and that's there to make you to function towards something, it's how we are going to be doing the third thing that we're going to be talking about, right? So this is exactly what is happening. Okay, when the stimuli, it comes up, and when the feeling brain starts giving triggers, and if you look at it, there's a brain hijack which happens at the amygdala. Right? Immediately, what happens is we get into the three of the things. Just imagine there's a snake in front of you. Snake in front of you. Either you do this, you might leave the scene, run away from that scene, that is flight, or you might fight. You might immediately look for a big stick or whatever it is to, beat the snake and do whatever that you can do to safeguard yourself. That is the fight. Or the third one, you don't know what to do, you just freeze. Right? These are the three reactions that happens. But whatever it is, when you experience these emotions, you can see there is an exhaustion in your body. Right? The energy is, drained in the body, and then that has to become a recovery for you. That's how human beings have been doing it. So my invitation to you is, I'm going to be talking about a little bit on the next thing. For you to understand the emotions, the most important thing that we need to do is, if you can look at this image, metaphor, picture, there is somebody's hand is in the hands of others. Empathize with people. I'm so sorry. Empathize with you first. Okay? Empathize with you first. Don't beat yourself too much. It's always been, when it comes to emotions, we have not let ourselves to be ourselves. How many of us have, that's what I'm saying. We haven't understood how we're feeling, right? So, right. So people are not their behaviors. So please do empathize with them. Right? People are not their behaviors. Please do keep that in mind. If everybody's behavior has got a positive intention, maybe we don't know what it is. It's important to ask them before we reacting it. I have done this, my friends, to my, I have showed this kind of things to my son many times that, when I was angry, I just threw away things. I just did a lot of damage. But then when I understood all these things now, it's very important for me to get back to him to understand why he did what he did. What was his feeling behind what the act that he did? It's just a few minutes, a few seconds that we need to be delaying our response, right? So please do understand that people are not their behaviors. So don't beat them. All of us work so hard to put other people in their place. What we need to do is we need to put ourselves in our place first, right? And then put ourselves in their place and see why they did what they did. So People are not their behaviors. So the second thing is you is understand. And the third thing that I want to talk to you about for you to be a sunshine in your life and in somebody else's life is navigate your emotions, my friends. Can you see that? When the river, if you can see that, when the river navigates itself, goes in an organized path, channelizes itself just by flowing in the way that it has to flow, it is so beneficial. Don't you agree with me? Yes, it's so beneficial for all of us because I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done because of the river. But the same thing, if it is flowing like a flood, uncontrolled, going in all directions, the brain is hijacked. When the amygdala hijack is happening, that rage is coming or anger is coming or frustration is coming, you start shouting and screaming at people. That's when it's a flood. It's destructive to self and to others. And trust me, any one of us, we have showed that kind of emotion, we are the first one to get affected for a longer period of time. So navigate yourself. How can you navigate? One of the things is that I want to talk to you about is reframing the situation, right? In fact, I preempted it. I said it before. Yes, I said that before. That when the car comes and cuts in front of you and goes away, and you say that, how can he do that? But at the same time, if your mind starts telling you, maybe he's got a sense of urgency, maybe he has to reach out to a place, maybe there's an emergency. That's exactly what is reframing. But then I just want to give you another technique. If you can see that this is a ladder of escalation. Okay, the data that you select, and just imagine on the left side you have negative assumptions, your expectations and belief based on the past conditioning, and the conclusions that you draw based on that you take actions. And it takes very few seconds, my friends, for you to reframe your immediate thoughts and just think about, maybe they did it for this reason, maybe they did it for this reason. If it's a positive assumption, the actions that you take are going to be completely different. Okay, there's a few things that, in terms of techniques, there are tons of tools that we have in terms of helping people to recognize on emotions. And this is exactly what it is, the SUN acronym, for you to be a sunshine in your life and in others' life. Spot your emotions. From now on, you're going to be spotting all your feelings whenever that you're coming across, okay? And then understand it and then navigate it. That's when you become a sunshine. You become a warm, cheering, compassionate person for some people in your life, okay? Okay, this is a quote that I love the most. Between the stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, my friends. That's why Viktor Frankl, who was in the gas chambers by the Nazis in Germany, and he wrote a book as well. I know if you can just get out of a book or understand more about it. How can these people like Nelson Mandela and Viktor Frankl and Gandhi can keep their emotions straight? I mean, keep their emotions intact, right? So, well, we're just going to be coming back to the questions again. This is a competency framework that we do as part of our EQ world and helping people to understand, emotions. If you can look at it, I'm quickly going to be helping you understand. But then if you want to know more about it, connect with Kelpachar team. They will be able to help you understand, as to how you can go through this and, equip yourself with your emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. And the inner core, if you look at it, is the purpose, my friends. When the why is clear, the how is evident, okay? So it's going to appear in front of you. So the purpose part, how is, most of the times if you look at it, purpose is one thing which is going to be, it gets improved and it stays there. And the inner circle, if you can look at it, which is in the orange and white letters. First is the consciousness, and the second one is emotional management, and third is optimism. Fourth is self-efficacy. If you look at it, these particular 4 traits, it's basically intrapersonal, more to look within me. First, for me to understand my emotions and how I think. The consciousness is all about, it's an awareness on my thinking, my feeling, and my behavior patterns. And then if you look at it, my self-efficacy, okay, how am I coming about in terms of efficacy, right? How efficacious I am. I mean, do I procrastinate? Do I do this thing? And then optimism, where is my optimism quotient? Am I optimistic or pessimistic? And how do I manage my emotions? Okay, this is the fourth. I'm not going to go much into the details of this, but then if you want more information about it, you can connect to us. There's a competency framework which we have, which will help you understand where you stand. It is contextual in accordance to what's going on in your life, but it's very accurate, and it can help you in terms of my emotional quotient. If I would say that I could work on that much better after me undergoing this competency profiling and got coached by Dr. Granville D'Souza. Okay, so on the outer circle, if you look at it, four traits: that's trust, influence, connection, and empathy. So it is very much clear these are interpersonal intelligences, right? These are interpersonal skills. How you empathize with people, put yourself in their place and see, and what kind of connection you're able to make with people. Are you manipulating your influence, or is it real influence that you have? Are you operating from the acceptance space, or are you operating from the authority space? And then if you the trust part, first thing, are you trusting yourself? Are you trusting others? And how do you know that other people are trusting you, right? So these are the things that we work with in terms of helping people understand on the competency framework, and by which they'll be able to really work on their emotional intelligence and improvise on that. And the competency scores comes something like this. If you can look at it, they're undeveloped, mildly skilled, moderately skilled, skilled, and highly skilled. Okay, so well, you can look at it in the highly skilled itself. In my case, if you look at it, I would say that my empathy part and the trust part was affecting my self-efficacy, because I was trusting everybody and anybody, and I was highly optimistic. I wanted everybody to, even if they're not able to do, I was believing that they will be able to do it, and by which I was waiting for a long time to do what I wanted to do. Okay, so my invitation to you is, we need an awareness on these competencies. First thing, we need to be aware of the vocabularies. Start noticing your emotions. Please do respect your emotions. Emotions are functionals. And the second thing, empathize with people. Understand yourself. Empathize with you. Empathize with others. Understand the emotions. Okay. And the third thing is, navigate it. For navigating, we have got tools. You can, and well, can you see the baggages there? Yes, you're able to see the baggage there. Well, the airlines are not functioning like how it used to function before, but once it opens, you will start traveling for your own purpose or for your official things. I know for sure things have changed a lot. When you carry too much of baggages today, the airlines are charging you a lot of money. They don't allow you to carry, isn't it? Yes or no? Can I see some yes coming up there? Are there people there? Yes. Okay. So when you carry baggages, they're not letting you. Yes. They charge more, right? They want more money from you. Well, some of us are carrying a lot of baggages, and that's what is stopping us from moving forward in life. Right? So I just unwanted worry. Wonderful, Jayashree. Thank you so very much for saying that. Excess baggage of emotions, Vandana, exactly. Emotional baggage slows us down. Bhargavi, wonderfully said. So emotional baggage slows you down. It's the anger, frustration, lack of forgiveness, unresolved conflicts with people, addictions. These are the things which slows us down. Okay, there's an author by name Tim Elmore who said this in one of his book. So I adopted it from his book, and I felt it's so good to talk to you about that. And you can read that book as well. But then emotional baggage is something that we want to be reducing it. You don't have to, right? And this is the best time. Even if there are some friends with whom you've not been talking about, there is some past things are there, close the loop. This is the best time. Everybody is at home, everybody is there, be compassionate, go and talk to them, pick up the call and tell them, hey, how are you doing? You know what, I've been thinking about talking to you for a long time. It's okay, my friends. Forgive. My mentor Kamal always tells me this. Okay, there once in the wherever people call hell, whatever it is, there the Saturn was growing seeds of frustration, right? resentment or whatever it is, seeds of resentment. It was, when somebody went and asked, what are you doing? He said that the seeds of resentment is ready to be sown in the people's heart, in the earth. And then the Saturn confessed, however, I can't do that if the person knows how to forgive others. Okay, so my invitation to you is, first thing is forgive yourself. Please don't beat yourself too much. Okay, forgive yourself. You are where you are with whatever the best things that you wanted to do with your life. And from now on, where you want to go, you definitely can go. My friends, if you look at it, I mean, all of us, we need to understand one thing. One of my other mentors said this to me, okay? I had a lot of problems in my life. That's what I thought, okay? And the question is, whenever I had problems, I was always there, right? Whenever I had problems, I was always there. So that tells me something, So don't blame others. Just forgive them. People are not their behaviors. Be compassionate. Just go and tell them, especially within the family. It's Vandana, thank you very much for saying that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. Absolutely. It benefits you first, then the other person. Okay. So from today, one of the things, if you're not ready to give, leave the baggage, I would say what's stopping you is E. Everybody wants to go to success, my friends. I'm sorry. Everybody wants to go to success. Okay, everybody wants to go to success. But if you look at it, what's stopping them is the E. From the ego. Okay, drop the E so that you can go. Drop the E today so that you can go. Okay, if you already dropped the E, I'm glad. If you did not, think about it. I'm not saying you must do it, okay? That's what I did. So one of the things that I want to tell you is the baggage is too much. It's going to be very heavy. Don't carry them with you when you want to run with your life, okay? And the next thing, my friends, the next thing, the metaphor that I want to tell you is, can you see this roller coaster? Yes? Can I say some response from people? Can I see some response from people? The roller coaster, yes, yes, yeah. Okay, it's a wonderful experience, right? Scary, happy, screaming suddenly, something happening, all of that. Yes, funny, scary, happy, thrilling. Please, some other emotions. Shocking too. Wonderful. Thank you, Asta. Anybody else? What else? What else comes up? What else comes up? Okay. Brilliant. Exciting. Throw up. Yes, sure. Fear. Thrilling. Okay. Okay. Wish I could go one now. Well, wait for it, Vandana. Things are going to be back to normal, and not the new normal, the normal. And in the moment, overwhelming. Yes, wonderful. Yes. Well, the point here is, have you seen any time? Because especially with emotions, talk to any expert on emotions, they always say emotions is a roller coaster ride. In a day, you go up and come down and go up and come down based on the triggers, events, and the people who are with you, or what's happening around you, right? So especially nowadays, for most of us, family, we're very glad we're spending a lot of time with the family. And a lot of us are having dinner together, a lot of us are watching movies together. There's good enough time for us to talk about things. And people are talking to their family relatives all the time on the phone and every day, or something. They have time now. But then if you look at it, especially in the roller coaster ride of emotions every day people are having, I have not seen in any of the theme parks wherever that I went, anybody going alone on a roller coaster ride. Have you seen them? Have you seen people going alone on a roller coaster ride? No. Thank you very much for saying no. Yes, somebody else. Can I have some more response? It's always with others. It's always with your friends. It's always with your loved ones. It's always with the family. It's always with somebody whom you never go alone to roller coaster ride, right? Because you want to have fun in life. You want to have a joy ride. Life, it can be a joy ride if you can go together, my friends. Especially for you to have your emotional intelligence in place, have some of the mentors who can be supporting you on this. Start noticing your feelings and connect with people. Okay, talk to people. It's okay to talk about feelings. I still sometimes come about, I don't want to talk about the feelings. What is there? Come on, you just express it. right? I was like that, bottling it for a long period of time, all my emotions. But then when I started noticing in myself and in others, accepting and understanding, and that awareness set in, and things became very different. And it's not, I mean, I won't say it was easy, but then it was very much possible in a short span of time. So, okay, so that's one of the things. And the next thing that I want to tell you is, these are the 3 words that resonated with me when I heard somebody saying this, okay? I don't know how it sounds to you. Just have a look at it. Unconditional love, deep compassion, and radical forgiveness. If you can keep that in your mind, that is unconditional love, okay? And towards yourself, first to you, and then to others who are with you in the family, your friends, people who are working with you. And then deep compassion, understand why they're doing what they're doing, be compassionate. And radical forgiveness, people are not their behaviors, okay? Yeah, I agree with you completely. When the mistake is from others, then we might forgive with time, but the pain lingers. Yes. So, well, I thought so. It's very difficult. There's a lot of inner work to be done. But then when you let go, you let God in. Bhargavi. When you let go, you actually let God in. Okay. So that's one of the things that I want to tell you. Maybe it's hard to let go, but then start working on it. For you to start working on it, you got to start spotting the emotions. And when you spot the emotions, you start understanding the emotions. When you understand the emotions, you will automatically navigate the emotions. When you navigate the emotions, things are going to be way different. You're going to be a sunshine in your life as much as a sunshine in somebody else's life. And I have utmost respect for Kelpecha for this opportunity. The work that they do is so sacred, and they already are emotionally healing people, and they're creating very safe, sacred work environment for people to be working together. And it's a privilege. And thank you so very much for entire Kelpecha team for choosing to, let me to work with you people. It's been a very humbling and responsible experience for me. I would love to continue to do that. And my friends, thank you so very much for taking time out on a Friday evening. Okay, and thank you so very much for taking the time out. It's an hour, precious time. I have utmost respect and regards for this, for you to be here. And my invitation to you is the 3 things that if you want to take from this. Number 1, the SUN acronym, okay? And all emotions are functional. Please do keep that in mind. And the 3rd thing is, people are not behaviors. Please forgive them, and forgive yourself. And the roller coaster ride can be fun when you catch hold of people with whom you want to go a long journey with, right? So thank you so very much for being here, and we can just go on to the questions if there's anything for me here. Yes. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Nagarajan. I think we have a lot of questions coming up. Some of the questions that people had shared, let me just read out. There was something that's typed to me also personally, privately. I absolutely agree that EQ is more important as one grows in an organization. While Steve Jobs, Musk, etc. are very successful, though they have less EQ and are very bad-tempered, sometimes this confuses me to understanding. This is misleading or my misunderstanding. Just want to understand.
Well, that's exactly why I said that there are people who are highly successful who are also, did not have EQ, enough EQ or whatever that you want to say. They were more aloof. They wanted to be themselves and all that. But if you look at it, one of the things that they always realized over a period of time, after even achieving the success and other things, one thing that they wanted to develop is the ability to connect with people. Whether it is the IBM's founder or Steve Jobs at their last stage of life, if you look at it, one regret that they had is, I wish I had the ability to connect with people when I was there. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why we say that EQ is one thing which, if you can realize in the early stage and start mastering it, life can be more peaceful is what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you can't. It's not, you're not misled, you're not misinformed. It's perfectly fine for people to have the doubt. So my invitation is, it's not a technique or a skill that you want to memorize to do. It's an ability to connect with another person on a very intimate level. That's EQ is all about. And especially in today's context, if you look at it, people, especially the millennials at the workplace, if somebody wants to be a successful manager or a leader or running businesses or growing kids at home, it's very important to develop the EQ. Because from the kids, from the millennials, one word which comes most is, few words. One of that is, I'm stressed, I'm depressed, it's overwhelming for me. And they don't know how to channelize them. Unless and until I am emotionally intelligent, how am I going to be helping them?
Right. Another question that is there from Asta is that I've always heard that negative emotions act as a poison. Is it true for our body scientifically?
When the negative emotion is not channelized, definitely it's poisonous. When you spot the emotion, you understood and start navigating it, then it becomes fine. If that negative emotion is there inside the body for too much period of time, unaddressed, unnoticed and not addressed, so then it is definitely a challenge. Yes, that's what the doctors say, the scientists say. That's why people say you let go of things, you forgive and forget, all those kind of things people say, because definitely it is. So there's a counseling psychologist who worked with me. She coached me, I would say. Yeah, she coached me. I benefited by her a lot immensely. And she always used to say, it's like, negative emotions is like this, right? The anger, hatred, fear. Just imagine you're cutting vegetables in the kitchen. And the waste that you're supposed to throw it down in the garbage, just imagine we're taking everything and putting it in a closet in the kitchen. What's going to happen over a period of time? It's going to stink, isn't it? That's exactly the outrage happens when people keep bottling the emotions, negative emotions inside of them for a longer period of time. The best thing is to let go of it. And thank God you asked me this, Vijay. One of the points that I wanted to tell to all our viewers is gratitude is one of the best things for us to come out of this kind of thoughts. Instead of looking at them, just be grateful to whatever that's happening in your life. Immediately that goes away. Yes.
Okay, there's some more questions that's coming up. So before we answer that, I see a lot of people are leaving also. Just wanted to address a couple of things. So Kelp HR has another offering on employee assistance program. This is all about counseling, providing counseling for your employees. So this is something has been in demand of late because of the stress that people are going through. One, because of the lockdown of staying inside their house, not able to go out, job insecurity, and a lot more stress that is adding up. And a lot of employees are seeking, be it a small organization to a large organization, and that's definitely impacting the productivity of the employees as well. So feel free to reach out to us in case you want to make use of the counseling service to ensure that there is an employee well-being at all your employees, right? So yeah, and we will finish off all the questions and before I summarize the session.
Okay.
So yeah, can you see the questions, Nagarajan?
Doesn't EQ is kind of bias? For IT industry, should we hire people with high IQ and EQ? Okay, I would say it has to be a fusion. You need people who are having IQ as well as EQ. That's what is most important, because that's the reason why I said, even in these times, from the technical companies, IT companies, if you look at it, people are asking only, they were hardly hitting them. There are more training calls coming from the HRs and the leads for EQ now. Empathy, EQ, and resilience. If you look at it, resilience is also connected to emotional intelligence. Only when a person is optimistic, and is able to handle the emotions, that's when he's going to be resilient. He's going to be bouncing forward. My invitation to you is, You got to hack your emotions, my friends. Being in the IT industry, emotions has to be hacked for you to act on the emotions. Okay, so that's very, very important. You got to hack your emotions. For you to hack your emotion, you need to know what bug is affecting us. What is that affecting us? What's the emotion that's hitting us? That's very, very important. So my invitation is IQ and EQ. The guarantee of business success was not cognitive intelligence, but emotional intelligence. I still would say very few people you can name, or people just with intelligence came up. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. Where people were just having certifications and the degrees, and they studied in this university and that university. Well, they're respected for what they are. But then it's the ability to handle the people, ability to influence people. Influencing people from authority is becoming very tough today. That's why there are more calls from the organizations for us to work with the first-time managers on empathy, on leading themselves and leading others, and building high-performance teams. High-performance team can be built with a person like Dhoni, because he is highly emotionally intelligent. And he was one person who was able to understand his emotions, understand every other person. Just imagine, this is one metaphor that I want to leave you with. Dhoni is a guy who's unassuming, okay, when he came into the team. All of you are in business, please do understand this. When he came into the team, if you look at it, he was working with people like Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Anil Kumble, and the Dravids. And then he was also working with people like Srishant and young cricketers. And varied emotions of people, but yet he was able to get the best out of everybody. That's because he was able to spot his emotions and spot it in others, understand his emotions and understand the emotions of others, and he navigated it for the outcome that he had. Trust me, he didn't manipulate. Okay, so for you not coming about as manipulating, it's very important that we need to be understanding what the emotions that we're having. Okay, being emotional is often considered as a weakness in a professional environment. How to change this mindset? First, let's change our mindset. Let me start respecting my emotions so that others are not going to be doing that. Okay, how to create a culture where it's okay to express and share feelings? Let me do that. Let me start it. How long? I mean, I can't say that people are like that. It has to start. See, if you look at the competency framework that I have, the first thing is the purpose, right? And the inner circle is all about my emotional management, my consciousness, my self-efficacy, right? So that's exactly what it is. So it starts with me first, the inner work, and then the outer work. Let me not look at others. Let me start respecting my emotions. Let me give respect to whatever emotion that I'm feeling, so that others will automatically appreciate it. Okay, so any other questions that I left?
So there are some more questions. So how do we overcome challenges at work with low EQ boss?
How do we say that again? Sorry.
Overcome challenges at work with a low EQ boss.
Well, there's a saying which always goes that you can't choose your boss and your parents. But now we have choice as well for that. Okay, anyway, so that's when we need to be learning to manage your emotions, my friends. That's when we need to know how to channelize the emotions. We have tons of techniques. I can say that just do meditation. No, sorry, I'm not for that. Okay, it's not possible just immediately when there is a trigger that you're going to be sitting and doing meditation. But then I definitely can choose my response to it. I can be assertive in my communication, right? I can definitely be very assertive in my communication, for which I need to understand what my emotions are. How am I understanding his emotions? So how I can go about, in a very assertive manner towards that person. So there's a lot of self-awareness has to happen. Where I'm going high, where I'm going low. Am I trusting too much on somebody? Am I looking at connecting with them overly, beyond the threshold, beyond a certain level? So that awareness has to come in first. When it comes in, you can, you have a choice to leave the place if the boss is there. And the best thing for you to create an awareness to your boss is, don't address it immediately. Go back to him later. Not only for your boss, to anybody, even to your loved ones at home. Don't tell them, don't correct them immediately. That's what the mistake that I kept doing. I wanted to correct my son, I wanted to correct my wife. Okay, immediately fix them. No, fix myself. automatically they'll be fixed.
Yeah, and maybe if I can add one more point, is maybe try and see if you can add humor to the whole situation. I think that's one example that one employee was having a tough time with her boss, right? Her boss would always go and call her as, hey Pakistani, how are you doing? Just because she was a Muslim girl and very much from Tamil Nadu. But she's very upset. Why would this person call me? And she tried complaining to the HR, nothing worked out. So I just gave her a suggestion. Hey, have you tried adding some humor to it, and maybe try and call him? Hey, when he says that, try and calling him back saying, "Oh, thank you, Uncle Sam. I'm doing good." Right? So maybe I think then probably they'll get to understand that what they are doing is not right. Right? So see if you can try add humor to the whole situation and definitely be assertive. And what Nagarajan said, delay the whole thing and give a response a bit later. Confront them and talk to them a bit later.
And when I talked about, thanks Vijay for saying that, thanks for adding to what I said. Well, my invitation to you is, please be yourself. It's okay to be yourself. Start respecting your feelings, but you can delay the response. Start internalizing why this happened, what happened, how he responded, and how you felt. Go back to them and tell them over a period of time. It could be the next day also, or few hours after that. You know what, Mr. So-and-so, this what you did made me to feel like this. And I was just wondering, was it my mistake? And I felt like I did whatever best possible that I could do. What will happen maximum? Today you are saved, my friends. Don't worry. Employee engagement program are there in all the companies. If the leaders are going to be just sending people away, they also question. And the resources they cannot just like that throw away. Okay. So when especially when you have your self-esteem high enough, when you know what you're doing, people are not going to be asking you anything. In fact, they're going to be afraid of it. Be assertive. Be yourself. Start respecting your emotions. That's what one of the things that I would like to say. Yes. Yes, Vandana, you said that creating awareness is instrumental, invest in training. Yes, absolutely. EQ. You know what? I was an emotional doing for a long time. You know what I mean? As a trainer, when people ask me to do emotional, quotient workshop in their organizations, I went and talked about emotions for a while. I'm sorry for those people now. But then now I really work. When I worked on myself, that's when I understand it doesn't come from here. Okay, emotions are, if it comes from the head, it's very clinical. When it comes from heart, it's emotional, right? And it's very emotional. And you connect with people when you're emotional, right? So you are able to influence people when you're emotional. So, and for that, really we need to understand what emotions am I undergoing now, what work am I doing. It's about, again I'm telling you, SUN is wonderful acronym. Spot it, understand it, navigate it. Spot the emotion in you and others, understand it in you and others, and navigate for yourself and for others. Whether it is a boss or anybody else for that matter, you can still navigate for them.
Okay, so some more questions that we're having is, being emotional and expressive is often considered as weakness in a professional environment. How to change this mindset? Oh, I think we answered this question, right?
First,
Yeah, we answered. Yeah. And another question is, does a repetitive action from others to hurt or criticize, do you still think that forgiveness makes it a smart move or makes you a fool?
Repetitive action from somebody
to hurt or criticize you. Okay. Do you think does it still deserve forgiveness?
Well, I would say that one, assertively addressing it. Second is forgiving. If you have a choice to not to be doing things with them, just tell them. And if it is a closed one, very close relationships, explain to them how you're feeling. The problem is we are reacting. We are not expressing our feeling. When it comes with emotions, my friends, we always start treating the symptoms. We are not treating the root cause. The root cause could be with me or with the person with whom I'm in contact. It's okay to help the other person if I'm going to be continuously engaging with them, right? So if a doctor, if you go, I mean, why do you see that the tons of doctors who just give only medicines to treat your symptoms so that you come back after 5 days, you come back after another 5 days, you come back after another 5 days. They don't want to treat the root cause. There are some good doctors. I'm so sorry. I worked with doctors for very long years. I mean, I have seen some good doctors as well. But then there are a lot of people who just work on the symptoms. They don't diagnose the root cause which is causing the symptoms. So my invitation to you is be an emotional diagnostic person. Okay, you can start working with people in terms of understanding what is the root cause. Is it the trigger from me or the trigger from them, or what's causing them? Are they really having some other issues? Is it okay for me to go and help them? If not, I don't have to. You can move away and go. If you don't want to, please move away. Well, you can be a Mother Teresa there, yeah, just going and doing it. But if it's going to affect your self-efficacy, please don't do that, right? I hope I answered the question.
Yes, definitely. Brilliant.
Anything else?
There's one more question from Asa, which says, I usually don't get angry, but once I do, I always feel discomfort for the next 2 or 3 days. And my hunger quota also goes up. Is it because of those angry emotions?
Yes, certainly it's because of that. That creates a lot of hormonal changes in the body. And well, I have not addressed the root cause of that emotion. That's the reason why my anger is there. My friends, we still don't know the difference between anger and frustration, or anger and disappointment. Okay, disappointment is you expected something, it did not happen. Anger is something which has happened to you which you can't digest. So the more awareness that you have for the emotions with the vocabularies, better it is going to be for you to understand and navigate, is what my point. So the moment you spot, understand it. The moment you understand, you will navigate it automatically. Trust this supercomputer. This has got enough inputs here. The problem is we are not spotting and we are not understanding. We're just reacting. The more you have a delay in terms of reacting, the time delay for the response, and that time the brain will start automatically functioning on it. So my invitation to you is, anytime there's an anger or a frustration or a rage or grief or whatever that's happening, which are negative, immediately ask yourself, what's the trigger? How can I pin it down? And then your mind will automatically give you a solution for you to navigate. EQ then helps in delayed gratification. Yes. Okay, from hunger, it is instant gratification to feel better. I get stressed up very fast, that converts to anger and then regret later. How I express to my feelings, to my loved ones, how I can overcome. Stress happens because of a few reasons. Well, if you ask me the stress factor, it's basically because things are happening. There are a lot of uncertainties. People become anxious when there are uncertainties, especially during this time. If you look at it, there are a lot of things which I was talking to people. People are anxious because of uncertainties, and that leads to stress. It happened to me as well when the initial stage of COVID-19, when we were all locked in the houses in the first few weeks. And my invitation to you is, especially when you're stressed, get good enough sleep. Take yourself away from all the inputs that's getting in your mind, especially, my friends, when you're affected by emotions, negative emotions, or when we're spotting it. If you're going to keep feeding yourself with a lot of negative inputs, that definitely is going to aggravate it. So you got to keep looking at what is my mental feed at that point in time. Okay, the mental feed, and then the physical feed. Okay, you got to keep watching that. Once you watch that, your stress level will automatically come down and your response level will be much better. So my invitation to you is, especially during these times, eat less in breaks, 5 times of small meals, small portions. There are people saying that stay away from the blue screen in the evenings. I don't know if it's possible because everybody's hooked up to laptop or the mobile phone or the TV. But if you can reduce, 3 hours before going to bed or 2 hours before going to bed, at least don't watch it with the mobile phone or the laptop. Keep it in a distance, a TV, and watch it, so that you might be getting enough sleep. When you have enough sleep, the stress level will come down, number one. Number two, address the anxiety. What's causing that anxiety, that uncertainty? and start looking at what kind of inputs that you're feeding in your mind. Okay, especially the mind, because that's where the trigger happens. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions are not going to be aligned. See, my friends, mind and body are part of the same system. Okay, especially for that question, mind and body is part of the same system. I can't keep thinking something and act something else. It's not aligned. It's very important for it to be aligned. Okay, there are like my kids keep telling me, take the chill pill. Okay, that's cool. A lot of millennials are very cool. I'm telling you. I have a teenager at home, 13 years old, and he just got into teen. I was very apprehensive, but if you look at it, I learn a lot from him. I mean, it's just the forgiveness comes so easily from him. Okay, immediately he just shifts his thing and he looks for what else can be done. And that's one of the things that we can learn from the kids. Okay, and yeah, you can take a chill pill. I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear.
Yeah, there's one more question which says there are some people who, when angry or someone starts to get really emotional, overwhelmed, and cry. I'm one of those people. How to work on it so that this emotional bust out doesn't happen in front of people.
Well, I agree with you. It's very important that you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable in front of people who are invested in success or who are not going to exploit you. That you got to be very careful about. Yes, I agree with you. But it comes over a period of time. I'm glad that you started noticing it. The next thing, the first you spotted it, now understand more about the triggers.
Radhakrishnan, I think your voice, it's lagging. If you can just type in your message on the chat, that'd be good. He's trying to ask a question, Radhakrishnan. Please ask it on the chat.
Okay, so especially that the question overwhelming and crying, it's very important that you cry. That kind of emotions are coming in front of people who are not going to exploit you. Now that's a pattern that you have. Okay, and that pattern can be worked upon constantly. That you start. There are tools for that, and you are aware of it now. Start addressing it, and if you want to know more about it, we can do it later. With you can connect with the Kelp team, and you have the number and the email ID there. Either you want to be coached one-on-one on EQ with the competency framework, or without as a group. If you guys want to be coached on EQ, we are very much there. Kelp would love to do that, and we will be there to support you with that. Okay. So, is it easier for women to have soft emotions like compassion, kindness, love, etc., than men in terms of gender? Okay, this is a misconception because men are always asked not to cry. You're a boy, you should not cry. You're a man, you should not cry. All those kind of things. But I'm against that. When that kind of emotions are coming up, it's very important to cry. Of course, women are very compassionate, very understanding, because they are naturally like that, and they're very empathetic. Right from when you're a sister to become a spouse, and then you become a mother-in-law, there are a lot of good things that happens with them. They take care of everybody completely. So it's very, it is true to an extent as well. Especially men are not asked to cry. That is the misconception. But women are more compassionate, more everything. The only problem is with the men. Sometimes we want to be the boss. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, one last question, and then we'll wind up, Nagarajan. So I think this is for my partner, Smita Kapoor. She's saying, you mentioned, she's a big fan of cricket, by the way. You mentioned Dhoni was with high EQ, right? But I never saw him expressing his happiness or sadness. On the other hand, we are saying we must express. So I'm a little confused. What is the best approach?
Who is saying we must express? Did I? I'm sorry, I didn't get the question, Vijay.
No, that is what I think. Should we express or not? Probably. Yeah.
No, I said all emotions are functional. We should express. I said
but no. You at one point, I think the question is, at one point you said Dhoni has very high emotional intelligence, correct? But he neither expresses his happiness nor his sadness.
That's because he is That's the emotional intelligence, right? He is able to navigate his emotions. That's what is the EQ.
But is it okay to not? I think Smita's question is it okay that he's not even happy, he's not even expressing his happiness?
That's okay. That works for him. Whatever works for you, Smita. Whatever works for you, what gives outcome for you. Because that's what I'm saying. EQ, please don't put it in a box. It's not a pill for everybody. One pill for everybody, okay? It's not one size which fits all. Especially for what you have something called your own personality trait. There is something which is you have of your own, your personality. And then the next thing is your perception. So when your personality and perception towards emotion matches, that's when you get the results what you want. Please don't change your personality. Please look at how you can perceive the emotions and match it to your personality. Kohli expresses it. Dhoni doesn't express it. But both are successful. That was my point. Emotion, all emotions are functional. It's okay to express or not okay to express. But this, if it works and gives them the results and they're happy, that's the thing that you want. You don't have to change for somebody else.
Lovely, lovely. I think well said. So I think we'll wind it up. So if others have any more questions, please do write to us at talktous@kelphr.com, and we will be more than happy to answer your queries. And Nagarajan will also answer it directly. I can forward it to Nagarajan as well. Right? So thank you so much, Nagarajan. I walk away with that key takeaway on the word sun. Spot, understand, and navigate through your emotions, and be the sunshine in your life and in others' life as well. I think that's an easy way to remember for a very, very long time, right? So thank you so much, and we look forward for all your feedback and responses. In case I see some of the audience are there with us, joining us in all the webinars. So thank you for that. I'm glad you like our sessions. In case you're interested in any more topics, please do let us know. We'll be more than happy to conduct them in the following months. And thank you, Nagarajan. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vijay. Thanks for Kalpachar team and every one of you who participated in it. Have a super duper sun shining life. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all.